All right, guys. So 20 days ago, Drake dropped a stream titled Iceman Episode 1, which is something that we did break down on the channel. Now, a lot of us assumed that this would be a series of streams, and that turned out to be 100% correct because on July 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern, Drake dropped Episode 2. It's not easy to predict what he's doing with this rollout, like where this is going. So Drake is currently touring Europe right now, and when I looked at his schedule, I was really puzzled as to how he would even find the time to film the next Iceman episode. Everything that he's been doing takes an extreme amount of effort and time, and the fact that they're pulling things off like this on his day off between shows is really a testament to just how hard this team is working. It really seems like he's constantly working. Like, I don't even know when he sleeps. The first thing that we see is a black screen with nothing on it, and we hear the voice of an unknown man.
What's going on, man? It's been like 3 weeks since they found your truck. Shed is empty. No one can find you. You're not picking up. Everybody's looking for you, bro. This is going to be a problem.
I don't know who this man is, but it is a unique recording as I can't find a single piece of media, a movie, or any audio that matches this quote. The man says that a truck was found 3 weeks ago, and this aligns great with the Iceman Episode 1 drop, as we had Drake driving the delivery vehicle 19 days prior, which is pretty much 3 weeks. It's for that reason where I believe the voicemail from this man really acts as a narrative bridge to tie the two episodes together. So he ends off episode 1 in the truck. Now it's 3 weeks later. So Drake is really building on this character arc, and make no mistake, there is a story being told across these episodes. It's insanely cryptic, all of it. My theory on the voicemail is I believe the man leaving the message and what he's saying could be tied to Drake turning his back on UMG. As you know, Drake is currently in a legal war with the label, and after Not Like Us dropped, it's highly likely that he completely cut off communication with the label. Knowing who Drake is and what he meant to UMG, Drake going ghost probably made them pretty nervous. While all this is going on, Drake is quietly planning this lawsuit, and the label had no idea what was about to hit them. They probably tried to get in contact with Drake for a while, and he didn't respond. The man on the call sounds irritated and almost panicked. He's saying nobody can get a hold of you. This is going to be a problem, and you got to keep in mind, Drake acted as the label Superman for 15 years. A lot of the features and favors that he was doing were for artists under UMG. We're talking about a lot of money. Like, this is big business. Now, all of a sudden, artists like DJ Khaled, who is under UMG, isn't getting a feature from Drake anymore, and that was literally the entire rollout for his album. The man had to cancel it because of it.
This guy's got 2 Drake songs on there, okay, 2.
I'm curious to know how many other artists from UMG that he's shutting the door on. Drake's first musical release after the beef was on June 4th with Wagwan Delilah, a complete spoof parody track, and at the time, most of us were wondering what the fuck Drake was doing because this seemed to be the last type of track to drop directly after his beef with Kendrick. However, it's with this record where I believe he was simply trolling UMG.
Wagwan Delilah, double date me if you like me.
I think Wagwan Delilah was the first time they heard Drake's voice after the beef. Like, this is how they heard from him. Shortly after the beef, UMG dropped 2 pre-recorded Camila Cabello tracks with Drake that they already had in the stash. Drake then leaked a bunch of his own music on the Plot Twist Instagram, clearly without UMG's approval, since they flagged the post and rushed the songs to streaming. He followed that up with a full collab album with Party Next Door, who signed to OVO, not UMG. The project dropped under Santa Ana, which was Sony, limiting UMG's profits. From there, Drake did a Spanish feature with Chino Paquez, another artist signed by Drake for one album, and a new collab with Smiley, another one of his artists. Even when you look at the credits on the Party Next Door project, there isn't a single UMG artist. It has mostly independent Canadian producers, and there's no UMG in sight. And to me, this is what Iceman really means, is all this. When Pusha T claimed that UMG stopped the Kendrick verse on the Clips album, I believe him because I think they didn't want to piss Drake off even more. It's pretty obvious they had high hopes of patching things up with Drake, but I can almost guarantee that that's never going to happen. Just take a look at the artist that he took out at Wireless Festival. Lauryn Hill, look into her history on how she feels about record labels. She is someone that had deep, ongoing issues with Sony and Roughhouse. She hated it, she walked away, and there are a lot of theories for what exactly happened with her and the industry. Bryson Tiller, under Sony. Lotto, Sony. Vanessa Carlton, this young girl was supposed to be a superstar, and it was with the exact same record that she played with Drake at Wireless, 1,000 Miles, that got her signed under UMG. Coming into her second album, she hated working with this label. She had zero creative control. They controlled her entire life. She absolutely hated it, and the industry chewed her up and spit her out, and she left in 2005.
My dream came true. I got this record deal. I thought it was gonna, it's gonna be this amazing situation. And at the end of the day, I was in a really bad situation with the people that I was working with.
Make her boobs bigger, make her butt higher.
There was a lot of weirdness. There's a lot of possessiveness that was happening.
Jay Huss, independently signed. 21 Savage, Sony. Mario, another artist that was used and abused by the system who had such little creative freedom. He walked away from the label in 2015 and went independent.
Well, you said you had to leave 600 songs behind when you
Oh
left
yeah,
RCA.
yeah. I left. There's a lot of songs that they had. I can't remember the exact number, but
Okay.
yeah. But
A lot of songs.
yeah.
Bobby Valentino, another artist who was under UMG that voiced his frustrations with album delays and less expected sales. He was dropped in 2008 and went independent.
Then you go get a label situation, and then here comes the label telling you what producers to work with, what your sound is. And then when it doesn't have success, you're going to drop me. It's like, oh, well, it didn't work. Peace.
Sexy Red, not with UMG. She's with Gamma, independent label. Burna Boy, Warner. Skepta, independent. Central C, Sony. Vibes Cartel, independent. Dave, independent. PopCam, Warner. Rema was signed to a label called Maven, and in 2024, that label was purchased by UMG. Just 2 months after UMG made the purchase, he went into a Twitter rant and said the following: "Shakes my head, the fuck is this? Labels, get creative. Stop trying to clone me. No new music. Sorry. I'm too big for fake PR. Bye." He completely removed the label information from his Instagram and all of his socials. Like, industry insiders are saying he left. It's not confirmed, but it's obvious he's not happy. Every single guest at Wireless has either absolutely zero ties to UMG whatsoever, or they worked for UMG in the past, got taken advantage of, had a terrible experience, causing them to leave, or they got dropped and discarded like they were nothing. Not only does it seem like Drake is not collaborating with anyone under UMG's umbrella musically, but when it comes to UMG pulling in profit from artist show money, he seems to be making a statement with this also. Yeah, sorry, my delivery days are done. I did it for 15 years. Here you go, take the keys. The truck's empty.
Middleman lined it and I cut him out the deal. Turn cutthroat for real.
The sad truth is, most artists who leave major label deals never regain their momentum. At Wireless, Drake had special guests with long-standing issues with record labels, and that wasn't random. This is a quiet and calculated move that mirrors the narrative within his lawsuit.
You Neo in the Matrix, these niggas just Nemo in the ocean.
Drake has been laying out all the clues. Like, the guy is going independent, 100%. In episode 1 of Iceman, Drake is working at the manufacturing plant. He's a cog in the machine, just another worker inside the system. We see flashes of a young, hungry Drake, just a naive kid chasing the dream, but that innocence fades fast. The scene shifts to something far darker as we see Drake surrounded by guns with 2 larger rifles aimed at one another, and from the beginning, I saw this as a metaphor for the war with the label system, specifically UMG. When Drake clocks out and slams that gate shut, it is symbolic. He's not just ending a shift, he's walking away from the machine and he's going to war against them. Some rumors say that Iceman is the final album that is owed to UMG under contract, and if this is true, then it all makes sense. This is it. Like, Iceman is his last work shift. He's done. So to me, it only makes sense that when he parks that truck and 3 weeks later, the man is saying they found it and it's empty, That's because Drake's days as UMG's delivery boy are over. And to me, this is a huge part of the premise behind Iceman and like what all this means. Anyways, the scene switches to a brick wall and you could see there's a door with a Pinocchio drawn onto it. Now, I actually tracked this exact location down, and as you could see here, the Pinocchio artwork isn't on the shot from Google Maps, so obviously Drake put that there for a reason. Filming it in Manchester makes sense because he had a show just the next night. Next, it switches to a scene where we see a pedestrian crosswalk sign, and I was able to find this location on the map as well. You can see that it's just up the street from the last scene. Something that you'll also notice here is that on the pedestrian sign itself is a hand-drawn sketch of what appears to be Spider-Man. And that's not even the first time that we saw this sketch. In episode 1, I remembered that when the scene showed the whiteboard with all the different types of ice on it, you could also see that same character again. At first, I really thought this was Spider-Man, but Certified Jarrett on Twitter claimed that this was the logo of Ben Dorado, who carried out a lot of design work for Party and Drake's album, and he also works closely with Drake's brand partner, Nocta. So I'm just not going to go down any Spider-Man rabbit holes yet. The scene then switches for the third time, and again, I traced it all on a map, so without a doubt, the last 3 shots were all filmed in the exact same area. As you can see here, this is the exact same location from Drake's stream. I saw people assume that this was like pre-recorded, but it's not. This is all live. Next, the scene switches to the inside of the building, and the business that Drake is at is called Sure Shot Brewing in Manchester. I even found a photo from this exact same scene with Drake on their website. They're a small independent company. Drake enters the scene still wearing the Iceman hoodie from the first episode, and you could see him looking at the red button on the left-hand side. Then he tinkers with the control panel in the front, which also has a red button, and the scene switches again, and he approaches another red button. You can't really see which buttons he's pressing. On Sure Shot's Instagram account, they shared some photos of Drake in their shop with the following caption: "Had a new brewer start last night. He turned on the chiller, prepped the lines, and locked up. Not sure he'll be back." So he's turning on the chiller, which kind of, is in line with the Iceman theme. So for anyone that doesn't believe that this was a live stream, the company clearly said that it all took place last night, and they even posted footage of the cameraman filming. This was definitely all in real time. Next, we switch to a scene with a man wearing a Pinocchio costume standing behind a tree with a red trailer behind him that reads "Deliveries up to 27 million, all in a day's work," with the word work blocked out. The scene that we're looking at in this case is exactly across the street from the building that Drake is inside. Pinocchio is stalking Drake, like he's watching him. The red trailer and the words that you are seeing is from a Royal Mail delivery truck in the UK. They have always parked their trucks in this location. Now, the slogan on the truck itself is interesting because of the number 27 million. This is the exact number of views that Kendrick's Super Bowl performance had on YouTube in the first 24 hours. Given the fact that Pinocchio is paired with that number, I just don't think it's a coincidence. Drake has made plenty of claims about bot usage, and now we've got a man literally stalking him in a Pinocchio costume, so there's no doubt in my mind that this character is meant to represent Kendrick. When we look at the character of Pinocchio, he is a wooden puppet fabricated by the man, and a fairy grants him the powers to be able to move around like a real person. From here, he desires nothing more than to be a real boy, and there is even a point in the 1940 Disney movie where Pinocchio is manipulated into performing at a puppet show by a fox named Honest John, as he ensures him that if he does this, it will make him a star.
Bright lights, music, applause, fame, straight to the top. Why, I can see your name in lights, lights 6 feet high.
Pinocchio listens to Honest John, he does the show, and at first it all seems to be 100% worth it. However, he's ultimately trapped in a cage and is destined to be owned by the show owner for life.
To me, you are belonging. We will tour the world. Paris, London. You will make lots of money.
The role of Honest John in the Disney movie is an interesting parallel when we consider that John Janik the CEO of Interscope Records, was so heavily involved in Kendrick's career. It's even more interesting when we see that John Janik has been named in the UMG lawsuit, where Drake's legal team have made demands to see compensation, incentives, salaries, and bonuses from John Janik specifically. In fact, it was just February of 2024, several months before the beef started, where it was announced that John will be shifted into a role where he assumed a greater responsibility over US label operations for UMG. So I feel like this is like a bigger connection when it comes to Pinocchio and why this is Kendrick, because it all ties back to John Janik. Pinocchio was manipulated to perform in front of a packed house where he is lying to the audience to become a star. The two stories have remarkable parallels because Drake is implying that Kendrick is a label pawn in UMG's game. Drake has accused Kendrick of being a grifter and inauthentic. He's made claims of Kendrick's jealousy towards him and his long-standing desire to be in Drake's place. Like Pinocchio, Kendrick wants to be Drake, who is also known as the Boy, and with the assistance of the labels, he's given the biggest stage of his career. However, just like the 1940 movie, Drake is insinuating that all this will be short-lived because the facade cannot be maintained when it's built on a mountain of lies. This is not even the first time that he called him a puppet. He said it on Taylor Made.
Hate all you corporate industry puppets, I'm not in the mood.
While we're still on the topic of Pinocchio, remember we saw that Drake drew the character on the door next to that brick wall. Doors turn out to be an important theme in the Pinocchio movie because many of the doors that he goes through are metaphorical traps. They look inviting but lead to danger. It's with this symbol on the door where Drake seems to be saying that when it's open up, Kendrick's lies will be devastatingly exposed. And yes, I did watch Pinocchio for this video. When it comes to the phrase on the truck, if you look closely, the word work is partially covered, leaving just the letter K and a period, which stands for KDOT. Now, to me, this part is probably just a coincidence because the sign that is blocking the word has been in that location for a very long time, even in older photos. I do think it's a coincidence because that sign, it looks like it hasn't moved in years. Drake closes the gate behind him and steps outside, glancing around like he's checking to see if someone's trailing him. Then we cut to another shot of Pinocchio, only now he's moved. He's no longer by the tree as he's crept closer to the building, hiding awkwardly in the bushes. With that said, he's doing a terrible job of blending in. His bright red costume clashes hard against the green backdrop. He sticks out like a sore thumb, just watching as Drake walks right past him. You'll notice that Drake looks back in his exact direction multiple times. It's possible that Drake knows what he's doing, but he doesn't seem all that bothered by it. The scene then switches to a close-up of door number 1, where the camera focuses on security tracking labels. This is a sure sign that the area is being monitored, which might not be the best news for Pinocchio, especially considering what unfolds later in the stream. The scene then switches to a departure board for a train headed to York from the Manchester Piccadilly station. This train is set to depart at 2:44 a.m., and I confirm that this is indeed a regular scheduled route. So it's not like Drake put the words there, this is an actual scheduled route at that station. And really, this is another strong indication that everything we are seeing is being filmed in real time. 2:44 a.m. is 9:44 Eastern. The stream was scheduled for 9 o'clock. It had a 10-15 minute delay, and as you could see, the clock that's rolling shows a time of 9:21 p.m. So again, for the people who think this is all pre-film, it's not. It's all live. What we see next is the Manchester Victoria Bats building. This is an old building that was built in 1906 as a place where people could bathe and shower. Next, we switch to various scenes within the building itself, and the common theme for most of the visuals is clearly doors. Unlike the closed doors shown with the Pinocchio on it, these doors are all open. This likely symbolizes what we discussed earlier. An open door symbolizes that secrets are no longer hidden. Something that was once private is now exposed or accessible. Multiple open doors also symbolize multiple secrets. While Drake was in the brewery, we saw multiple red buttons And you'll soon see the name of the upcoming song that he previews is called Which One? Which one? Like, which button should I press first? Like, which door should I open? The scene cuts to Central C dressed like a British mobster, clearly channeling Tommy from Peaky Blinders, who also filmed at Victoria Bats in Season 2, Episode 6. In that episode, Tommy holds dangerous secrets about government deals and intelligence operations. He really knows too much, and he fears that powerful people around him might have him killed, so he begins writing a letter that exposes everything, just in case he's found dead.
After I've served my purpose, I believe they intend to kill me. I therefore want to name a particular individual in this letter. The agent who has initiated and orchestrated this crime is Major Chester Campbell of the British Secret Intelligence Service. In the event of my death, it is imperative he be brought to justice.
Eventually, Central C, who again seems to be channeling Tommy's character, meets Drake at the top level of the pool and hands him a bag. Now, in my opinion, the bag likely represents one of two things. One, incriminating evidence that someone gave Drake, meaning he's in possession of something they never thought would surface, information that certain people are desperate to keep buried. Or two, the bag acts as a metaphor for the knowledge that Drake already has. Central C's character really could just be a symbol or a vessel. Whether it's contracts, manipulation, streaming games, dirt on Kendrick, or industry puppeteering, the bag represents all that. In theory, it holds everything that Tommy's letter contained at the beginning of that episode. The bag is most definitely the bomb. For Pinocchio, I was able to watch the movie because it's just one movie. Like, Peaky Blinders is a fucking series. Like, I would have to watch. I would never get the video done, but I did watch that episode, and this is what I came up with. The scene then cuts to a woman dancing in an empty pool to Drake and Central C's new track, Which One?
I'm at the club just a London birds. We are heading out the pillow face first.
Keep in mind, this stream pretty much acts as the music video for this song. And when you think of a pool, it's typically a fun place that's full of life and energy. And one can imagine that a typical music industry video for a song like this one would fall into a much happier scene. However, Drake is threatening to show the other side of it by draining the pool. When that happens, the scene becomes eerie, and the fun facade behind many of our favorite dance records have a far darker backstory. The woman is wearing all black, and the scene doesn't scream party, but I'm trapped. In many ways, like an empty pool, the artist becomes a shell of one's former self. Again, that's just my perspective, my take. The song could also have some sort of dark meaning intertwined in it that's not visible to the general public. Drake has been known to layer subliminals towards people where only they know what he's talking about. When it comes to Drake, that's why you can't only focus on his rapping records, right? Because he layers different messages in like R&B records, or like it could be some happy singing song that might have something darker tied to it.
81, they'll bring the crashers to the party.
Central C and Drake then dap up, and he leaves with the bag, and the next scene focuses on the plunge bath in the building. These baths were typically really cold, so this could be another tie-in to the Iceman theme. Next, we get Central C sitting down, and he previews a new record.
Man, I call in my phone about beefing my feet in the sun, that's a juxtaposition.
I fuck with the record actually, but I just don't, I'm not going to break it down now. Again, it's with this Central C track where Drake is just buying time so that he can get in position for the next scene. That's why we start seeing flashes of scenes that we were already shown. Eventually, we see the gate for Manchester Piccadilly Station, which is exactly where Drake needs to be to catch that train to York. The scene switches where we see Pinocchio, aka Kendrick, running after Drake. This is meant to symbolize that the evidence that Drake has in the bag puts him miles ahead of the puppet that is chasing him. It's really symbolic in the sense that Drake is saying, after everything you just did, you still aren't ahead of me, and you never will be. Lies can never outrun the truth. Your story is not sustainable, and what's in this bag is going to make sure of it. Drake is on this crazy next level cryptic shit, and if I'm Kendrick, he's probably tossing and turning right now. Kendrick's probably having trouble sleeping.
Pinocchio, they can't see. My nose don't grow though.
We then see Drake walking through Piccadilly Station, miles ahead of the puppet. He gets into an elevator and the instrumental starts. where you already know what time it is with this. We all know what Drake is about to do with this beat. I believe it's on this track, this exact track, where he's going to expose some of the information that's contained in the metaphorical bag. When Drake catches the elevator with this playing in the background, it only spells out one thing: I'm on a whole other level than the guy that's still outside the building. Lastly, we see the words coming soon with a Pinocchio silhouette in the middle, which means Drake is going to be exposing a lot of these lies in the very near future.
They might have caught this dude off guard last time, but like, you do realize they're fucked now, right? They're fucked. I'll call it right now. Like, we'll see if I'm wrong. I don't think I will be. Like, those guys are fucked.